Joining us now to give us his take on the Create More law is Mon Abrea. He is the founding chairman and chief executive officer of the Asian Consulting Group. Thanks for joining us, Mon.
Hi, thanks, Anne.
Hello, good evening. There in Washington, yes?
Yes.
Yes. Now, first off, how does Create More, the Create More law, make the Philippines tax incentives more competitive?
You know, we've been working with our policymakers, particularly the Senate Ways and Means, to make sure that the concerns of our foreign investors and the prospective investors address their concerns, particularly on VAT refund, BIR audit, and a lot of the bureaucracies and issue on corruption that foreigners do acknowledge or know about doing business in the Philippines. So Create More is a welcome development because this is really a sign of the commitment of our government to make sure that we prioritize ease of doing business and that we will do everything to attract foreign investments in the country.
Now, Mon, in terms of ease of doing business, how does this new law aim to improve this?
Well, number one of the proposals that we have actually communicated with them is based on the discussion with our foreign investors abroad as we continue our international roadshow, is that there will now be a separate RBE service center for in the Bureau of Internal Revenue. So instead of them being included among all other taxpayers, there will be a specific registered business enterprise taxpayer service that will really focus on the compliance of our foreign direct investors. Hopefully, this will also address the issue on BIR audit because we also propose for a risk-based audit. But as I have said, we will continue to work with the government. We're happy with the Create More, but there's more that we want to be legislated or to be enacted. But that's one. Another one is the creation of the VAT refund center, and this time it will be electronic. So hopefully, from manual to electronic, our foreign investors will really see the commitment of the government to release their VAT refunds, because especially among our existing foreign investors, their complaint really is that their VAT refunds are not being processed or released. And the Create More will now address that as well. And of course, we also look into the other salient features of the Create More. After the tax holiday, under the Create law, they will be subject to 25%. But now it was further reduced to 20%. So that's another welcome development. And really, the objective is to make sure that we attract as much foreign direct investors, considering that Vietnam and other ASEAN countries are very competitive.
Mon, let's talk about the impact of the Create More law. What are the short-term and long-term impacts of this new law?
Well, first, you have just mentioned that there was a decline in our foreign direct investment from the previous year. The immediate impact is that we already expedite and increase our foreign direct investment. So that's the first one, especially on ESG or those which are helpful for the environment. Hopefully that they will really now decide to invest in the Philippines, given that we have provided or addressed their concerns. And the long-term really is that it will help the economy in general, that it will create more jobs. And that's ultimately what our kababayans will really benefit from.
Mon, what are the sectors that you think will benefit from this new law?
Well, now that we are all in the working towards the sustainability, the environment, social, and governance investment, we can see that there's so much investment coming from our European counterparts in terms of renewable energy. The mining industry will also, I think, will also benefit. But hopefully, we attract more of the IT and technology, especially to help our agricultural sector, so that the countryside will also benefit from foreign investments, not just Metro Manila or the National Capital Region.
We've talked about the benefits of this new law. Now, do you see any disadvantage this time regarding this new Create More law? And if there are, what are these disadvantages?
Well, we initially proposed that since we signed the OECD inclusive agreement, we initially proposed that we already include the global minimum tax because that's part of the agreement that we signed with OECD. But we will continue to work with our government, with the Office of Senator Win Gatchalian, to make sure we expedite, prioritize, and legislate it before the end of the year because the global minimum tax will practically impose a 15% global minimum tax to multinational corporations with 750 million euros and above annual global sales. So it's important that we also benefit from any additional income from these multinational corporations that are profit shifting or shifting their profits to low tax jurisdiction or tax havens. Then another thing is that since the VAT refund center still remains or stays with the BIR and Bureau of Customs, we will still give it a try if they can really improve the processes. But I honestly believe it should really be separate from the Bureau of Customs and BIR because they have already so many jobs to do and the
Right.
backlogs is piling up. So they have to focus on audit and investigation rather than processing a refund. But on the side of the audit and investigation, a lot of our foreign investors are scared actually, or they're really discouraged because of how BIR treats them during audit and investigation. That's why we propose the risk-based audit. But as I have mentioned, we will continue to work with our legislators because we think the risk-based audit will encourage more foreign direct investors because they will see that they will not be wasting so much money with all the law firms, consultants, just to deal with BIR examiners every year.
In your opinion, Mon, what other tax reforms should the government implement?
Right now, what we're seeing is that we want the government, we would be happy if the government will really invest more on the digitalization program of the government, particularly for the BIR. And up to now, we don't have the database. We don't have a clear strategy on how to broaden our taxpayer base and tax base. So when I say broaden the taxpayer base, is that of the more than 110 million population that we have to increase because right now we have practically 20% registered taxpayers out of the 110 million. How do we increase that? How do we make sure that everyone who are gainfully employed, those who are doing business, whether in the traditional way or online, are all registered and paying their taxes? Then the second one is to the use of technology and data analytics, not manual, not mano-mano or random audit. How do we make sure we increase the tax base that those who are really earning more, whether online or the traditional way, including our professionals, how do we make sure they declare the correct income and pay the right taxes? So I think that we need to use technology and data analytics to improve that. We don't need new taxes. We keep saying that we don't need new taxes. We have so many taxes already in the Philippines. And our foreign investors are aware of that. They are not naive. A lot of these foreign investors, we have engaged with them through our international roadshow. A lot of them are talking to one another. They know what's happening on the ground, what's happening in the Philippines. They don't need to talk to watch television or to talk to somebody. They are talking among themselves. They know what the politics, they know the policies, they know the improvements, and they know that this create more will definitely help, but there's still more. And that's where we will continue to work with our government. The issue on bureaucracy and corruption is still there. We need to make sure that we do not just guarantee or reassure them that they will really experience, including our domestic businesses and taxpayers, that there's really no more bureaucracy or corruption when it comes to dealing with the government, particularly in paying taxes.
Lastly, Mon, how is Create More aligned with OECD's global minimum tax, given that the Philippines is one of the signatory countries?
Right now, unfortunately, it's not. I haven't received the final version that was signed by the president, but on the third and final version that we were able to review, we were not able to include yet a provision to adopt and implement the OECD global minimum tax. And I think that's now the priority to make sure that we will have that bill enacted before the end of the year. Because whether we enact a law or not, we will be affected by the global minimum tax, because all the other signatories, more than 140 countries, tax jurisdictions, will definitely are already implementing it, including our ASEAN neighbor countries, Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia. They're already implementing it. So there is really an urgency for us to catch up. We also need to catch up with our foreign direct investments, but also with the global minimum tax. Otherwise, we won't be getting any benefit from it. The additional taxes that could have been collected will not be collected without a law that adopts and implement the OECD global minimum tax. So we are hoping that the Senate, the Congress will really prioritize it. And this is also aligned with what the President wants, that we continue to attract more foreign investors, but at the same time to really help the economy. And the multinational companies making a lot of income but are not paying taxes in the Philippines is definitely a huge source of revenue for the government.
Great insight, Mon. Thank you very much for your time. Mon
Thank you,
Abrea
Anne.
there, founding chairman and CEO of the Asian Consulting Group, speaking to us live from Washington.